The Scottish king has died without any warning, and without a suitable heir to the throne, Scotland is on the verge of civil war. So Scottish nobles ask England to help appoint a new king. But the English king Edward I appoints John Balliol, an English puppet. But soon the Scottish puppet king turns his back on the English king, and so Edward I of England assembles his armies and marches north to Scotland and to war. After a long march north, the English army has arrived in Scotland, and fighting breaks out at the Battle of Dunbar. The Scottish army has taken the high ground and established a defensive front line, but the English are going to try and bait them out of their position. And so the battle begins, and the initial English troops go charging into Scottish front lines and are immediately pushed back. But do not fear, because the English reinforcements are most definitely here. But the Scottish army has made one decisive mistake. They have abandoned the high ground, but that means they are going to be walking head first into the English trap. The English have got foot soldiers, they've got spearmen, longbows, they've even got heavy cavalry on standby. And now that the Scottish army is no longer on the high ground, they are going to be easy pickings, and the last few Scottish cavalry come charging in, but they are nothing compared to the English cavalry, which is itching to get into battle, and in it goes. Time is ticking for these Scottish soldiers. The Battle of Dunbar. What a crippling mistake this has been. And the English longbows are beginning to take their shots, and one by one the Scottish archers taste the dirt. And just as well, because the English cavalry was about to take his head off. Bruh. And so in this first confrontation between Scotland and England, the English have won the day, as the country now falls under the control of King Edward I. But a young rebel called William Wallace dares to stand up against the English. But they'll never take our freedom! As he fights back against the English, more and more free Scots join him by the day. And of course, the English king cannot stand for such a rebellion. And so he sends an army north to Scotland to put down William Wallace. But the Scots have assembled an army and positioned it on the gateway to northern Scotland. And so the English army has no choice but to either go home or go through the Scottish army. And of course, this is the Battle of Stirling Bridge. As we begin the battle, the English have no choice but to come in almost single file across this tiny bridge where the Scottish archer fire and defensive front line are waiting for them, and the English cavalry is not even going to be enough to break through. Is that guy about to be thrown off the edge? Oh my god, Tesco would be proud. But there is, of course, some heavy English cavalry which has managed to survive the initial confrontation. That's why you wear helmets, everyone. But William Wallace still going ham in the center of the map here. But okay, let's just pretend he didn't die. Is the heavy knight dead as well? Yeah, they're dead basically next to each other. And look how many Scots are left here. And look just how many English bodies are in the center of that map. And what actually happened in real life is English soldiers jumped off and tried to swim. As it turns out, trying to swim with plate armor, not that easy.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
And so the English have been pushed out of Scotland, and William Wallace's name will go down in history. The peasant boy who put down the English. And so the English and the Scottish armies once again come head to head at the Battle of Falkirk. King Edward I will now attend this battle to guarantee a victory. William Wallace knows that he is desperately outmatched, but with nowhere else to go, this is where they will make their stand. And the English have a desperate advantage in this battle. The English heavy cavalry is going to be entirely unopposed. At the Battle of Falkirk, the Scottish cavalry saw just how many English there were, and before the battle had even begun, they already fled the field. I mean, this guy is quite literally trembling with fear.
Help me!
But let's begin the Battle of Falkirk and see what this cavalry charge can do. Where's it gonna go? It's going right into the spear wall, but it doesn't matter. There are so many and such big cavalry and so much armor that it just does not even matter. Now, William Wallace is trying to go one-man army. It has not worked out for him, has it? And the cavalry, what's happening to these horses? Let's see, can this cavalry actually take down all of these Scottish soldiers? It looks like they're gonna have a pretty good go at it, that's for sure. They are going all over the place, and they are completely unopposed taking down these Scottish archers. And now what's left of this Scottish army is just in complete disarray. There's barely any of them left, and pretty much the entire English line is still strong. And the English king, Edward I, watches from the back of the battlefield with a smile on his face as the last few Scottish units go down to English longbowmen and the heavy cavalry. And as quickly as the rebellion had begun, now too it comes to an end. The Battle of Falkirk was a decisive victory to the English. Sometime after the Battle of Falkirk, William Wallace was captured. He was then put on trial and publicly executed in England, a day that Scotland would not soon forget. And now we move on to what might be the most famous battle in Scottish history. But first, we must meet two new members of this story. Shortly after the execution of William Wallace, King Edward I died and was replaced by his son, King Edward II. Now, as for the new leader of the Scots, a man named Robert the Bruce has consolidated power and rallied his forces to stand up against King Edward II. Now, the Scots managed to spot a flanking English cavalry charge, and they've sent some skiltrums to go deal with them. And in the main part of the battle, something that I cannot believe actually happened. The new king, Robert the Bruce, genuinely rode forth to 1v1 an English knight to the death in the middle of the battlefield. And so the Battle of Bannockburn begins, and let's see what Robert the Bruce can do. He's gonna 1v1 an English knight. Now, in real life, if you guys want to know, Robert the Bruce 1v1 this knight and actually broke his axe off in his head. And after the battle, he was really upset because he broke his favorite axe. That just kind of shows you what kind of a guy he was. Now, as for the rest of the battle, we can see that the English are piling in against the Scots here. Over on the other side, the Scots have managed to catch the English cavalry off guard and have bogged them down in the heat of battle. But the main battle is now taking place over here with the main forces of Scotland and England clashing head to head. Who is going to come out on top? It looks like only just, but the Scots have come out on top. Robert the Bruce pushing forth with his soldiers here. And whilst we are watching that, the rest of the Scotsmen finished off that part of the English army. And our boys up at the top managed to finish off the English cavalry that tried to flank round the side. And at this point, it can't be understated how this was a much inferior Scottish army that somehow managed to defeat the English. Now, in the second day of this battle, even after losing the first day, the English still have a significant advantage. But this time, the Scots are going to be on the offensive, and the English can't believe their eyes. What is this suicidal charge? It doesn't make any sense. This offensive is so insane that the English nobility begin fighting over who gets the honor of charging down and slaying the Scots where they stand. As ever, the Scots appear to be completely unfazed by the almost guaranteed death coming their way. King Robert the Bruce possibly being the most suicidal out of the whole lot. But regardless of that, the second day of the Battle of Bannockburn takes place anyway. And let's begin the battle, and what you will see is that the English nobility completely ignoring orders in an attempt to get the glory of the kill for themselves, and so they completely charge down the Scots even though they were supposed to hold formation. And the Scots will use this eagerness to their advantage, slaying the nobility right away, leaving the English with no commanding officers. And out of nowhere, the Scots have also called in their light cavalry, sweeping into the right flank of the English. They did not see this coming, and very quickly, the tides of this battle are changing in the favor as more and more English knights are slain on the battlefield. But as for the center of the battle, somehow the Scots have managed to stand firm. While the English defenders are not going to give up that easily, they will be fighting to the last man, mostly because the Scots aren't going to give them much of a choice. Oh, that horse! What on earth just happened there? What a way to go. And the battle rages on all the way along this front line. There is no clear victor in this front line. The English still doing a good job at holding on here. But Robert the Bruce is going to fly and sidekick someone. I don't believe it. Oh, and the English archers are now getting plucked out the sky by the Scottish archers, and there's only a handful of them left. But look at this English knight over here. He was tanking, but only just goes down at the end of the battle. Oh, let's see where these two arrows go. There we go. And that right there is a Scottish victory. In the face of almost certain defeat, somehow the boys in blue managed to pull through. That was some totally accurate battle simulator, the first Scottish War of Independence. Thank you for watching that Tabs gameplay. If you haven't subscribed, then subscribe, leave a like and a comment, all those good things, and I will catch you again in the next Tabs battle.